In the original Pygmalion myth, a sculptor carves a woman so flawless that he falls in love with her. He prays to the gods, they take pity on his devotion, and the marble softens into warm flesh. It is presented as the ultimate happy ending. Madeline Miller's short story, Galatea, looks at day 2, when the romantic framing disappears to reveal a hostage situation. Galatea spends her days confined to a medical bed. If she tries to stand up or asks for fresh air, the nurses and doctors on her husband's payroll force her back under the covers. Any hint of independence is met with a bitter, sedative tea that leaves her head throbbing and her body paralyzed. Physical confinement is only half the ordeal. Every time her husband enters the room, Galatea must arrange her limbs perfectly, close her eyes, and pretend to wake from the stone for him. She is forced to perform her own birth over and over to satisfy his ego. Her husband does not want a partner. He wants a warm, compliant object. Galatea's only allowed purpose is to validate his genius and passively accept his physical desires without a single human complaint. Between the locked doors, the constant sedation, and the forced stillness, Galatea's life has been stripped of all autonomy. Her home has become a highly policed, private prison. The sculptor's illusion of perfection is broken by the presence of his daughter. Pathos is 10 years old, fiercely intelligent, and, unlike her mother, entirely rebellious. As Pathos grows and begins to question her surroundings, the husband's patience snaps. He fires her tutors, restricts her movements, and isolates her within the house to crush her spirit. The situation takes a chilling turn when Galatea discovers a new project in her husband's studio. He has carved a pristine, flawless statue of a 10-year-old girl, a silent, obedient replacement for their daughter. Galatea's escape now carries the weight of a rescue mission. She has to reach the exit before her daughter is forced into that same suffocating mold. Galatea begins mapping the boundaries of her cage by using her husband's own myths against him. She blames her slow pulse and ice-cold hands on the lingering effects of her stone past, using her supernatural origins to baffle the doctor's medical expertise. She also notes her husband's deep revulsion toward her physical humanity. When he sees the stretch marks on her belly, he doesn't see a mother sacrifice. He tells her that if she were still marble, he would take a chisel and scrape them off. To lower his guard, Galatea leans into his delusions. She offers overwhelming fawning, cries on command, and maintains total physical submission to bypass the overlapping surveillance of the husband, the doctor, and the nurse. Because her husband views anything uniquely human as a flaw in his art, he remains willfully ignorant of female biology. He understands marble, but he does not understand bodies. Galatea realizes that her abuser's arrogance and disgust for women's bodies is his greatest blind spot. It is the one vulnerability she can exploit. Galatea tests her husband's ignorance by puffing out her stomach and announcing a pregnancy. Because he lacks any real understanding of human reproduction, he accepts the lie without question. Under the cover of night, she initiates her distraction in the garden. She collapses to the dirt, screaming in agony and faking a violent, bloody miscarriage. The nurse, overcome by panic and blood, is easily manipulated. Galatea weaponizes that fear, convincing the woman to abandon the premises to fetch the doctor. The moment she is alone, Galatea drops the act. She sprints to the house, scales an olive tree to bypass the locked doors, and slips into her daughter's room to leave a secret message spelled out in sand. She makes an eerie detour to her husband's studio. There, she strips the silks off the terrifying 10-year-old stone replacement and whispers an apology to the marble. Instead of slipping away quietly, Galatea walks to her husband's bedroom. She stands in the doorway and deliberately wakes him, forcing him to witness her presence. Galatea has successfully drawn the warden out of his fortress. She is leading him into a trap where they will fight the final battle strictly on her own terms. Galatea flees toward the sea and throws herself into the crashing waves. Her husband, fueled by rage and a lifetime of lifting heavy marble, easily catches up to her in the surf. As he lunges forward and grabs her by the throat, Galatea does not fight back. She simply wraps her arms tightly around his ribs, locking her wrists together in a permanent, stone-like grip. The trap snaps shut as Galatea stops trying to be human. She allows the unnatural, freezing cold and the impossible, unyielding density of her former marble self to return to her limbs. Her husband thrashes against the water, but his weak flesh is no match for solid stone. Her heavy body easily drags him down, plunging them both toward the sandy ocean floor. This is a deliberate sacrifice. Galatea gives up her own life to ensure her abuser never takes another breath, permanently securing her daughter's freedom. The creator who spent years trying to force a living woman back into an object is destroyed. The moment she weaponizes the exact heavy, cold perfection he demanded.